of so many things nutritionally that we can do to impact our own health. That then spawned MG Wellness this past summer.
And we learned so much more than we knew prior to that. Not only nutrition,
So many things nutritionally.
but exercise, de-stressing. We'll get into more details about that. But that led to what our even greater passion is, which is helping as many people as possible, both here and around the world.
One of the things that we find is that our passion to help people is great one-on-one and with families of those patients. But in our next act of our career, we would love to be able to bring that information to a repeatable form so that we can help more people by dispersing information that we share with patients one-on-one.
Absolutely.
So that is our mission. What does the course then contain?
So the course contains 6 modules. The first module is what is cancer? We're going to talk about the basics of what cancer is so that for you going through it, or for if you have a loved one going through it, you'll understand. We're going to talk about how cancer is a cell from your own body that has become abnormal. It has developed the ability to invade, to spread or metastasize, to live on beyond when it should or immortalize itself, and even to grow when the person who has the cancer is not doing well. The cancer can continue to grow.
One of the things that can be frustrating in talking about cancer is we had lots of very good comments about why isn't there a cure? I mean, after we've spent all of these many, many decades and dollars in researching cancer, why isn't there a cure? And one of the things that we talk about in the course is how there are so many different types of cancers. It's estimated that there are over 100 cancers, and in all reality, each of those 100 cancers has different specific types. So it really turns into
thousands of cancers.
Right.
Like, for instance, someone will say, well, I have cancer of the pancreas. There's lots of types of cancer of the pancreas. Breast cancer, there's lots of types of that. It doesn't matter which organ you're talking about. There are lots and lots of different types. And with these, we are learning more and more. Not only are there different types of cancer, but a lot of what has been studied and a lot of what we studied back when we were doing research directly in the lab, which we did for a long time, is that there are genetic changes that are just so numerous in every cancer. It's not like most cancers come from one little genetic change.
Right. It's from thousands of genetic changes. And so that makes the study of cancer far more complicated than what we knew 50 years ago when we thought cancer was just one singular disease. So we talk some about that in the course, and we talk about progress that is being made with new drugs, many, many new drugs. In fact, in the past 5 years, there has been a flurry of new drugs and better use of old drugs, and then discoveries about personalized medicine, genomics, where you can target specific genetic alterations that are in a person's cancer cells.
And not only can you target with immunotherapies, with vaccines, things like that, but it has actually led to better use of chemotherapy, because if the cancer cells don't have what chemotherapy is going to work on, then giving that chemotherapy just doesn't work. That's personalized medicine.
Right. You don't want to waste your time with drugs that are not going to have an opportunity to work. So then, what is chemotherapy? Medications that either slow or kill the cancer cells.
There's lots of different groups of chemotherapy. People hear about very specific names and they think there's only a few types. There's actually many different types, and each of these attacks cells in different ways, different parts of how a cell is growing.
We give examples in the course of each of these and where they are attacked in what we call the cell cycle. We talk about the most common chemotherapies that are given, and then we also give trustworthy sources to determine if you are getting the very specific recommended treatment for your specific type of cancer. That's an important thing to be able to verify that the recommendations that you're receiving are
correct,
up to date. And then, what is immunotherapy?
Immunotherapy consists of drugs that affect the immune system, whether these are vaccines, whether these are interleukins or interferons, or these are drugs such as the monoclonal antibodies that kind of turn the brakes off or take the brakes off on the immune system to let your immune system fight better. We further go into whether or not you're getting the right therapy by giving you good sources you can check that are up to date, up to the minute, up to the date, to check and see if the immunotherapy you're getting is correct for your cancer or for the genetic change, the genetic defect that it's supposed to target.
So then we go on to what about these side effects? They stink.
Side effects are awful.
They're awful, and we are not here to say that they are not awful.
No one's going to say that chemotherapy is easy, and every single person tolerates chemotherapy differently. However, we also know that there are certain common side effects that are more common with certain drugs.
Yes. And so we talk about common side effects that are across the spectrum of many, many chemotherapies, the ones that you hear a lot of discussion about. But we also discuss rare and more concerning side effects that you should be aware of when you take certain chemotherapy or immunotherapy drugs.
And part of that is helping you be your own advocate by coming alongside with you. We've had many patients and friends who didn't realize that the side effect that they were having was actually a side effect. And in fact, sometimes their doctors didn't realize. So we're going to come alongside you, not to replace your doctor. That's not our goal. It is to come alongside you, help you, teach you, support you, so you can be a better advocate for your own care.
In that same section about side effects, we talk about standard guidelines that we have seen. Unfortunately, many patients don't receive those standard guidelines of medications to fight side effects from chemotherapies. So these guidelines are something that you can look up, but we also explain in detail in the course.
And we will give you up-to-date sources to look and see if you're getting the appropriate treatment. You know, for instance, often we will see, since we have worked at referral centers for years, we'll see people that come in getting Compazine as their anti-nausea medicine. Well, Compazine hasn't been used standardly as an anti-nausea medicine in chemo in years. And we'll see people that have a low risk of getting neutropenic fever that are getting Neupogen or Neulasta, and that just causes pain and discomfort without benefiting. So we're going to give you the places to look for your specific cancer regimen, what you should be getting as the drugs that go along with it, not just are you getting the right regimen.
We're also going to give you natural treatments, supplements that have been actually shown in scientific studies to help decrease certain side effects. We give you what those supplements are, the doses that are recommended, and what specific side effects they fight against.
A lot of this we're going to give you that's actually in a printable form so that you can actually take it to your supplement shop, take it to wherever you go on the internet and order it, and you'll know what to order, how much to take. That has been proven by scientific studies.
The next module is eating, running, and relaxing. These are three things that we have become massively passionate about, helping cancer patients who are undergoing chemotherapy incorporate these things not only during chemotherapy, but for the rest of your life, because there is so much evidence that these three things help you do better when you're undergoing chemotherapy and help you do better in terms of keeping that cancer from potentially coming back.
We're going to talk about anti-cancer foods, not to replace chemotherapy, but to complement chemotherapy. We're going to talk a lot about gut health. Gut health is key. It's key. It's key. The gut is the key to your immune system. A healthy immune system is how you fight cancer. We're going to talk about the value of prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes, and what role they play in gut health.
We'll also talk about the value of exercise. What type of exercise makes chemotherapy more tolerable and side effects less? That actually can happen.
And that's super important because a lot of the chemotherapies have side effects that not only affect you during the time you're getting chemo, but they can continue to go on beyond when you have chemo. And in fact, they may not even maximize until months after chemo is done. We recently were talking with a physician who had just finished chemotherapy, and he had never been told that his side effect hadn't even hit its maximum when he finished chemo. And he was worried that he was doing something wrong because his side effect kept getting worse. And we're like, nope, you've got several more months. And then we also gave him things he could do to minimize.
The other thing that we're going to talk about in this module are different de-stressing techniques. Anything from prayer to community involvement, groups, being involved in groups, support groups. We've seen people talk about that in the discussion about the ads for the webinar, and those support groups are incredibly important. To things like Tai Chi and yoga. We're going to talk about what works, what's been proven to work, and what doesn't work. But there are lots of de-stressing techniques that can be incorporated into your regimen while you're undergoing chemotherapy. The next thing that we're going to talk about in the next module is how to talk to your doctor.
That's a question that people often have. People are often scared to question their doctor, scared to ask questions, and when they're there, they don't even remember what was said. So we're going to give you printable questions to ask your doctor for you and your caregivers to take with them so that you have the knowledge going forward.
You can actually write the answers to those questions right on that printable sheet. We're also going to talk in this module about the value of the caregiver, the important role that the caregivers play. And then we're also going to talk about the value of a second opinion. There is much value in that, and if you're listening to this and you have ever had it cross your mind that maybe you would like to get a second opinion, we would encourage you to do that, not as a way of questioning your doctor, but as a way of affirming maybe what they've recommended.
And so what's really interesting is if your doctor doesn't want you to get a second opinion, run.
Run to get a second opinion.
Why don't they want you to get a second opinion? I would be questioning that. I truly would. And we encourage people. We actually will talk to you in this about asking your doctor, not only can I get a second opinion, but where would they recommend I go to get a second opinion? And that's what the doctor should do.
Yes. And then finally, our final area of how to live my best life on chemotherapy, our final module is about survivorship. Where do you go after you're done with the chemotherapy?
How do you return to your normal life?
And what do you do for follow-up? What's the plan for follow-up? What's the usual plan that your doctor may have for follow-up?
And we're going to talk again about the value of community. the cancer fighting community is so valuable, and it's a way to help give back to those who are going through it after you.
We've actually seen discussions already on the ad for the webinar where many of you have provided encouragement to others who maybe haven't even started their journey yet. And that is the awesome part about Community with Cancer Patients. We're also going to list frequently asked questions. We're going to answer some of those tonight, but then we will have a list of those in the modules that we provide answers to as well.
And with this, as we said, there's going to be several parts of this that you can print out and take with you to your doctor's visits.
Correct. So, what is included with the course?
So there are 6 modules with approximately 20 lessons, over 5.5 hours of training, education, coaching for you and for your caregivers.
There's also going to be a private online Facebook community that is composed of all of those of you who are either on this journey or who are caring for a loved one going through this journey. The purpose of this community is for encouragement, for finding answers to questions. It is not to be negative and down and outers, but to be encouraging, to be a bright spot in people's day.
One of the questions we frequently get asked is, if I buy it, how good is it long for? How long is it good for?
Yes.
And yes, John had dyslexia right then. So you actually get lifetime access to the material, and we will continue to update this. One of the exciting things that we already have seen is that people are giving suggestions, and they haven't even seen the material yet. And that's super exciting to us because we will learn more so that we can come alongside you and help you more. We will continue to update the courses with new resources, and you will always have complete access as long as the internet exists.
We will also have weekly live coaching sessions with, yes, yours truly, Dr. John and Dr. Kelly, to get your questions answered. There are often questions that arise throughout the week, throughout your treatment, that you want to ask us directly. And so we're going to have weekly live coaching sessions to do that.
A lot of those questions will be answered in the support group, but for those questions that don't get answered, here's the option.
Yes. So that's what's included in the course. So what does it cost? So the cost is $497 for one-time payment or $197 for 3 monthly payments.
So some people think that's a lot of money, and no one's saying it's not. However, comparing it to other courses, it's pretty
reasonable. So what we estimate is that this course represents about 10 doctor's visits or nurse practitioner visits, as well as 5 visits to a naturopath and 5 visits to a nutritionist. And the cost of all of that, including copays, would be an out-of-pocket expense of about $2,200. And then if you look at the average number of missed days of work is about 18 for each patient undergoing chemotherapy. Mm-hmm. And if you look at a minimum income per day, about $250 a day,
right,
that would result in several more $1,000s of expense. And so if we can come alongside and prevent some of those lost days at work, that is a big out-of-pocket savings. So it's estimated that the cost of the information in this course may represent about $8,000. And so we were encouraged to charge a hefty amount. That did not fall in line with our goal at all. Our goal is to help as many people as possible. We were encouraged to charge $3,000 to $5,000.
Right.
We did not feel comfortable with that at all. We were encouraged to charge $1,000. We did not feel comfortable with that. But for $497, and we're going to tell you about a special deal here in just a moment, $497 of a one-time payment, or $197 for 3 monthly payments, we feel that you will get something of incredible value that can help you.
There are no similar courses out there that
Yes.
we've seen or that people have reported seeing at all. However, if you want to teach your horse Tai Chi or learn how to tap dance, you can pay a lot more for a course than you could pay to help you live your best life going through this horrible thing we call chemotherapy.
Yes, in fact, we heard about a course just this past weekend that was for learning how to tap dance that was being offered for $597. And we thought to ourselves, my goodness, to help our lives, to help decrease the side effects, to help improve the number of good days, this is certainly worth that amount. So, common questions that we get, we've already answered this one, we'll answer it one more time. Do I get access all at once? Yes, you do.
Yes, we are not dripping the lessons or modules.
Right. You
Everything.
get all of them at one time. And those will be available on Friday of this week.
Another common question we often hear is, why should I do this? You're not my doctors. We're not trying to replace your doctors. We're trying to come alongside you, support you, and help you have maximum benefit from this. We're trying to optimize your best days, maximize the days.
We want to help give you knowledge that will empower you to have more good days. And we don't want to replace your doctors. But understand that doctors have different experiences, they have different education, they have different knowledge, they have different research experience.
And one of the things that we found frustrating through the years of being oncologists is that you have to see patients constantly. You can't spend all day with one or two patients. It doesn't work. You have to see 20 or more patients a day. And so sometimes all the information does not get across appropriately. And that's where we come in, is to help you get the information you need to help do better.
Yes. And we may be covering things that your doctor just doesn't have literal time to do during the day. The next question is, how can I gift this course? It is possible for those of you who have loved ones, friends, family who are going through chemotherapy.
Or you want to give it to yourself.
Yes.
I
to
kind
be
of
a
buy
better
myself presents sometimes.
Yes. How can you gift this course? You can actually buy this for someone that you love and care about to try to help them on their journey. And all you need to do is, when you purchase that, we want you to email us at support@mgwellness.org, and we will then work with you to allow this to be a gift. The next question is, will this help if I have already started treatment?
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many patients we have seen at referral centers who have already started treatment and have struggled with side effects. And then when we were able to use the standard of care recommended treatments as well as supplements that have been shown to help decrease side effects, patients have been amazed
At how much better they did.
at how much better they did.
And some of them are incredibly simple things.
Yes, not complicated things at all. So will this help if you've already started treatment? We've already
Yes.
seen it help patients who have already started treatment. All right. We're at the point of this webinar when we want to hear what questions you have today.
So we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm Nate. I'm just producing back here. We didn't forgot to say it ahead of time, but if you put it into the chat function of Zoom, I'm here reading, looking at it. If you happen to be on Facebook or YouTube, you're watching this and you're watching it live, you can put it there. Also, I'm watching there. But I do have a couple questions that have already been popped up and questions. So Dr. Kelly, And Dr. John, one of the things they want to know is, will you be looking at the newest treatments, the newest medicine? I forget how it was phrased, but the stuff that's just happening now, and how will you be giving recommendations on clinical trials? That was another question.
So, yes, we are looking at the newest drugs all the time.
All the time. In fact, it is pretty darn up to date, up to the minute.
Yes. However, one of the things that we really believe is going to be helpful is in those weekly live sessions, that if there are specific questions that arise, that is a place where those specific questions can be brought to us about new things that are available, because we are in a time right now where, yes, almost daily new recommendations are coming out about new drugs and what's available, new trials. In terms of clinical trials, we talk about how to find clinical trials that might be relevant to you.
Yeah, we cannot, since we're not your doctor, tell you what trial to go on, but we can help you find multiple trials to look at, to consider, to get the information about.
We would have to know about your specific cancer, and if we knew that, we could help direct you to a trial. Okay.
All right, next question. Took chemo and pill with no reaction. First time, had to go off of it. Will be going on to treatment again. What are my chances of not having side effects?
Everyone's different. It's you with drugs, whether it's chemo pills, whether it's the PARP inhibitors, whether it's an aromatase inhibitor. Those are the common chemo pills. There are some immunotherapies that are pills. But even if you've had a reaction once, it does not mean you will have a reaction again.
All right. We'll look and see if there are any more questions. We'll take those for his last seconds, but I do want to bring up our last slide. And our last slide is really important because this is the first time we're opening this cart for this special launch of the course, and we're going to be talking about this over the next several weeks. But we have a special deal that we want to talk to Dr. John and Dr. Kelly.
So the launch special is that if you buy the course now until Friday night of this week at midnight, you will get 20% off the course cost. And the coupon code is listed there and the website.
And with the coupon code, it is all capital letters, all one word.
That is all capital, Best Life Launch. And when you go to mybestlife.online, that is the domain, mybestlife.online, and click Get Access. When you start to purchase, you choose which way you want to purchase. You'll see a place to put the coupon code, and it'll take the 20% off, and that is good through midnight of your local time on Friday night. And so that will be a great way to jump into this course. We're going to be sending you emails. You can reply to those emails and ask questions. I'm going to ask one last question of Dr. John and Dr. Kelly and bring them back up here. What are your hopes that this course will accomplish for the men and women who will take it?
I am really hopeful that it will really provide significant amounts of knowledge that maybe you felt you haven't been able to get thus far, and with that knowledge, that you will actually have more good days than bad days. Not saying that chemotherapy is easy at all. No one is here to say that. But because it is such a challenge, we hope that you will find this incredibly helpful.
Absolutely. We hope that our experience as well as our knowledge can benefit more people than we've ever been able to benefit before.
And on that, we will sign off. Look for emails with the replays of this, and we will be watching and looking to answer any of your questions through email. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.